behind their team and what they are trying to do for the program in totality.
Yeah, in her first season a year ago, Cavaliers started 12-0 before finishing at 15-15. UVA in the white, Ryder in the cranberry, and off we go from JPJ. Virginia on offense to begin, 79 points per game, inside the top 45 in the country as Ryder begins in a 3-2 zone. Kamora Johnson, the star freshman, to Camryn Taylor, and back to Johnson. Sam Brunell, lethal three-point shooter. Towards the corner, Alexia Smith misses, and the rebound for the Bronx. Starting lineup here. Go ahead.
No, we talked to Coach Milligan a couple days ago even, and she was able to talk about the different defenses as we see the Ryder starting five coming in. These are players who are used to getting minutes, heavy minutes for this Ryder team, who again, like I said, is trying to build some camaraderie here on the offensive end as they swing it around and use that ball screen.
Jessica Schiffer back in the starting lineup, nails a three, and Ryder has the early lead. Starting lineup for the Cavaliers. Harris Clark is in the starting five, averaging 10 points per game so far. The first-year Cavalier transferring from Arizona.
She's been such a highlight for this Virginia team, coming off of the bench after an injury early on and now into the starting position. Is huge for them.
Sam Brunell on the sidestep three, misses. There is Clark, active underneath.
And that's what she does. She's able to provide you the looks outside, but in the paint is where she's able to really strive. She's averaging 8.3 rebounds per game for this team, and it's her size, it's her awareness of knowing where the ball is going to come off the rim that makes it so key for her.
Sophomore from the Bronx, didn't play the first 3 games this season, recovering from an ankle sprain, back in the lineup and really potent offensively. The freshman Kaylin Deviney with the finish.
That's going to be an important piece to the puzzle for Ryder tonight. Just a freshman, but has shown sparks of greatness down low in the paint, using her size. Coach Milligan says she really wants her to understand different defenses and how they are playing her to really use her size to her advantage.
Brunell hoists a deep three. Off to the right, bounces down, and Virginia keeps. Taylor, free throw line jumper. Brunell alone underneath, misses the bunny. Taylor on a wrestling match and hacked on the way up.
Now Taylor's heading to the free throw line, and we talked about it prior to the game, Corey. This is a place where she is comfortable. She made 10 of 10 in their last outing on the road against LaSalle.
Yeah, Taylor became the first Cavalier to go 10 for 10 or better since her teammate London Clarkson went 14 for 14 against Boston College a season ago. And overall, this Virginia team has been stupendous at the free throw line. Second in the ACC, 83%, only behind Virginia Tech, and 4th in the country.
Yeah, it goes to focusing on the little things. Coach Mox has always talked about it since day one, you know, counting those 50-50 balls as well as putting an emphasis on the free throw line. It's free money.
And the taller players are getting it done from the free throw line. Taylor and London Clarkson, who, by the way, is not available tonight. Normally comes off the bench, dealing with concussion protocol. Johnson misses the layup. But an extra possession here for UVA, but failing to tightrope the end line. Clark. Sanaa Redmond at the controls, the junior from Philadelphia. Her first season with Ryder after moving over from Samford. One of 8 newcomers on this team for Lynn Milligan. Redmond zips. Michaela Fireball on the hesitation. The senior throws it up and in.
Nice to see a bucket go in for Fireball, coming home. Great old homecoming in Charlottesville for Fireball. Have some family in the gym tonight, but able to see one go through the net is great early on.
Winchester native, about 2 hours away from Charlottesville. Some family, friends, even the principal in attendance tonight. Under 6.5 to go, first quarter. Virginia at 6-2, Ryder 2-5. The Bronx 2 wins over Merrimack and BU. Fireball can't get it to go. Good box out from Alexia Smith. A really good rebounding guard at just 5'8".
Well, down here on offense, we've seen Ryder be able to run through plays. Haven't been able to get a consistent shot going from the three-point line, but getting to the basket is no problem.
So now Redmond failed to get that one to go. A Virginia turnover here. Good hustle back from Fireball.
And these are the times that Coach Mox talks about wanting to see her team play consistent in transition, consistent in the half court. And there's just a mistake going out of bounds there for Ryder as well. Both these teams trying to get a handle on the offensive ball.
Well, Coach Mox, we spoke with her before the game. Virginia comes off a 94-73 win over LaSalle. Coach didn't necessarily feel it was a complete performance. There were some lulls in the game, and so at one point she decided to use the press as a way to basically wake up her team.
Yeah, it puts onus on them. It puts the responsibility on them to work hard, right? To value each possession. And coming back to the consistency point, and it's not just taking care of the ball. It's not just rebounding, which we know that they can do a really good job at it, but it's also moving the ball, assists, making sure that they are consistent across the stat sheet.
4 changes here for Virginia. One of them, Katie Pauley, who misses that three-pointer. Jillian Brown is in the game. Yanta Vaughn is as well. And Kaden Lawson, the senior from Cleveland. Taylor Langen couldn't hold on to it, but it's deflected out of bounds, and it stays with Ryder.
Another opportunity, Ryder able to just slow down their offense a bit and get into their plays. Coach Milligan talked about wanting her players to know what they want out of each play that they call and not just running it to get through the shot clock. And you can see that they're taking their time and taking good decisions.
Yeah, we asked Coach Milligan just her overall offensive philosophy throughout the year. She said, we want to give up the shot you can make for the shot we can't miss. I love the way she put that.
Yeah, another rendition of passing up the good shot for the great shot.
Redmond discards. Long three. Schiffer grazes off the iron. Bounces down for Vaughn. Yanta Vaughn, the backup point guard for Virginia. Cavaliers just one of their first 11 from the floor, and they've turned it over a couple of times. Jillian Brown on the kick to Vaughn. Has to reset. Good stingy D from the Bronx. Taylor has trouble with it. Shot clock down to 3. Taylor muscles her way inside and scores.
That's what she does best, using her body, using her timing to make sure that she gets to the rim just in time before the shot clock sounds. But offensively, like you said, Virginia's having a hard time of getting in their sweet spots, and that's to Ryder's pesky defense, pesky hands in the passing lanes.
Oh, nice back cut, but Fireball couldn't finish. Pauley asking for the ball. Instead, it goes to Brown, who dashes to the rim and earns 2 free throws.
This is the opportunity that Virginia needs to get into the lane. Jillian Brown able to get into the lane just as Camryn just did down here, able to use her body and her physicality to finish at the rim for Virginia.
The colors cranberry and gray. Enrollment of around 3,600. Some pretty notable names throughout the sports history for Rider University. This program in women's basketball had a very special player from 2016 to 2020 by the name of Stella Johnson. She was an AP All-American, honorable mention, a 2-time conference player of the year. She led the nation with 25 points per game, and she was coached by Lynn Milligan.
She was a complete workhorse, I tell you. My best friend growing up actually played at Rider her grad year with Stella, and she said she put her nose down and got to work, and it ended her up in being a 29th pick in the 2020 WNBA draft pick. And you know, it's just a testament to what Coach Milligan's trying to do. She's trying to build up these women to not only be successful at Rider, but also in the future.
Jamia Blake just checked in, called for the offensive foul for Rider. Yeah, Stella Johnson's number 4 is retired at Alumni Gymnasium in Lawrenceville. Program I know you're very familiar with. Lauren, you were actually recruited by Lynn Milligan before you decided to head to UVA.
Recruited. I went to all the basketball camps growing up, the co-ed, the women's camps, and it was always a great time. We got to spend the night on campus in the dorms and felt like a big kid, you know?
Yeah. You know, in what areas do you feel Coach Milligan is really effective as a coach?
I mean, I think she's just so personable, right? She has a history of just wanting to win, having the will to win, right? She hasn't always had the best athletic or most athletic players, but the culture is to really hustle and to really win and to really play with all of your heart and soul. And that's actually their motto this year. She told us it's heart and soul, making sure that you are leaving it out there on the court, right? You're not always going to be the tallest, the fastest, and she always made sure to make a point that you're not always going to be that, but you have one heart and you have one soul, and you can leave it all out there on the court. And for that, I truly respect her as a coach and also as just a mother figure to these women even.
Yeah, she said that over the years, Ryder has developed strong young women, lawyers, doctors, moms, whatever the case may be. So important for them throughout the seasons. Redmond on the two-man game. Olivia McGee, 0 in white, is in the game, the freshman for the Cavaliers. Blake swarmed at the free throw line, back out to the perimeter. Redmond with the timer at 4. Misses. A lot of cranberry jerseys underneath, but instead it goes to the Cavs. Pauly up ahead. Fouled.
Ryder couldn't get the rebound down on the other end, and Katie Pauly just took at it. Her speed sometimes is deceiving, right? You think that she may pull up with her capabilities to be able to shoot the 3 ball, but her just getting the defense on her hip and taking it all the way to the rim lands her at free throws.
Pauly, the sophomore from Missouri, initially committed to Missouri State, where Amaka Agugu-Hamilton used to be the head coach. Saturday, December 16th, we have a college basketball quadruple header that starts at noon Eastern, but these are our featured matchups. Virginia Tech hosts Vermont in Blacksburg at 4 Eastern. Then Virginia squares off against Northeastern right here on ACC Network and the app. Cavalier men with a 30-point win over NCCU yesterday, now 8-1 on the season. Sophie Brunches in the game, 14 in the Cranberries, 6'5" senior from the Netherlands. Blake whizzes in the paint. Batted in the air and controlled here by Lawson, and a foul.
Yeah, neither team can really get it going around the rim right now. Ryder 3 for 11 and UVA 2 for 14. Both these teams are running their offenses. They aren't getting comfortable looks at the basket, and that's just to their defense, right? They're putting a hand in their face. They're bodying up and being physical with one another, and so far the refs have been playing pretty fair.
You know, I know this one isn't so far an offensive masterpiece, and I know the Cavaliers haven't extended yet, but I got to imagine Coach Mox is relatively pleased, especially on the defensive end, because not to say that that was the struggle for this Cavaliers team coming in, but we know what they can do offensively.
Oh, yeah. Offensively, we've seen it at almost every level, right? Multiple players scoring double digits, while Ryder, Jamia Blake, is able to knock one down and one at the bucket. And we saw her dribble around several times, maybe using too many dribbles, but this time is able to get a straight line drive to the basket and one against Lawson.
She's a really talented player. Her first season with Ryder after moving over from UNC Asheville, spent 3 years with the Bulldogs. She was her high school's all-time leader in points, assists, rebounds, and steals. And you have that type of talent in the MAC coming off the bench. Pretty special.
Yeah, one of those players who you just have to put her in the right position, and she will thrive.
McGee's 3 off to the left. Virginia now 2 of 15, 0 of 5 from 3. Coach Milligan said, we just want our players to play Ryder Bronc basketball. Be calm, it's a big stage, but show up. Here's an offensive rebound, extra chance. And that 3 no good for Aaliyah McIver, the freshman from White Plains, New York. Pauly fakes, goes up, banks it off the square, and earns contact.
That's a great look for Pauly, right? As a player, former player, you're looking at her bio, you're looking at what she's good at, and you're thinking, okay, she's going to settle for this 3, but for her to be able to put it on the floor, jump stop, and get her defense in the air, that speaks to her IQ and her knowing also that my defenders are going to think that I'm shooting now. And so now it's time to put it on the floor. And when you're able to knock down free throws, as she just did with the first one, it makes her job so much better.
And that's part of an underclassman's expansion of her game, right? Freshman year, you could identify her as a shooter, but you want to see that overall improvement as the career continues.
Oh, yeah. Game by game, Coach Mox talks about improving each time out. And her coaches do such a good job of developing players, as we've seen with players like Camryn Taylor.
Ryder trails by 1. Flipping up a wild shot and in. It's Mariona Cos, the junior from Spain, who started the last game against Monmouth, back off the bench today. Hawley open, rattles out.
Yeah, Marioma's been a great addition for this Ryder team. She said she likes getting overseas players. Coach Milligan likes getting overseas players because it's an easy trip back home between either flying out of Philly or New York. I thought that was very logical and practical.
Yes, no doubt about that. She's estimated about 15 international players through her 17 years. The 3 gets the road bounce from Schiffer. And Ryder will end the first quarter in the lead. Hawley trying to make it just a 1-point lead, fails to do so. How about this? The Bronx at 2-5 out of the MAC with a 4-point lead over the ACC's start to the season for Coach Mox's team.
Yeah, they've had a great flow offensively heading into this game, still trying to figure it out offensively and knock down some three-pointers. They've been 0 of 6 so far.
What would you diagnose as the issues for the Cavaliers so far?
Yeah, it's just controlling that pace, right? A team comes into your arena on your court and they seem to get going before you do, means that they are controlling the pace, and that was a key for Coach Milligan as we see Johnson pull up at the free throw line, which is her sweet spot.
And then Camryn Taylor slices through a couple of defenders.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Getting it going, being the first to attack, getting the opponent on their heels. And it looked like Ryder was able to do that, while Virginia now has to respond, which they've done well in the past before. But on your home court against the MAC team, you want to bring the fire.
All right, and keep in mind the Cavaliers have gotten off to some poor starts this season, come back and won games, down by 15 against Tulane. Here's a 3 from the corner that misses. Kamora Johnson taps the rebound to herself, but Clutter back out to the perimeter. Schiffer, a sidestep. And a rebound for Taylor. And Virginia was also down by 15 early against Mizzou in the ACC-SEC Challenge last Thursday. Won that game in overtime. Yeah, the Cavaliers really haven't outscored teams in the first half. They've come out of halftime and been really solid in half number 2s.
Yeah, quarter 3 has been their quarter, their time to shine. But I'm sure heading into the ACC play, that is not something that you want to keep going if you are Virginia. You want to be able to start games hot and being able to rotate your players off the bench who can keep that same level.
And the Cavaliers were down 28-13 against Mizzou. Rallied back to win by 6 against the Tigers. Schiffer pries herself free. Couldn't get the shot to go. Johnson speeds ahead. Johnson to the shooter, Brunel. A tape measure job.
And it was only about a time until Brunel was going to knock one down. She was going to keep shooting because that's what she does. 1 of 4 from far so far. And we're going to continue to see her in that spot, which Coach Mox is really good at, is really making sure that her players have confidence in their abilities. And that is something that Brunel has made a part of her game, and she's going to tell her to keep shooting it.
Yeah, she gives her players the ultimate confidence. Brunel, though, can't defend successfully inside against Davini. Kaylin Davini, who mostly in high school played as a perimeter player. Coach Milligan wants to use her on the inside. Clark is open in the corner. Bluffs on the 3, hangs in the air, swirls off the rim. Offensive rebound, Taylor in the step back.
Another rebound, offensive rebound. That's 3 for Camryn Taylor, getting it done inside. Ryder not pushing back on those rebounds.
Touch foul at midcourt here on Johnson. When Virginia struggles, she is the ultimate neutralizer.
Oh, yeah, she's going to bring them, she's going to balance them out every single time, bring them back in games, and it's just because of her physicality and her willingness to put her body out there on the line, right? That's just jumping over someone who wasn't pushing back hard enough. That's just a will that she has to pursue the ball.
8 points, 4 rebounds so far. Third-year Cavalier after moving over from Marquette. Molly Lynch, Ted and Cranberry in. McIver is fouled. Johnson in disbelief. Coach Mox doesn't like it. Our officiating crew today of Bruce Morris, Crystal Apollines, and Keith Batson.
Virginia has a history of racking up some fouls, or their starters do, I should say, early in games. Kamora Johnson doesn't want to get another one early on here.
Jillian Brown, the Grand Rapids native, first-year Cavalier with the English.
So beautiful, so effortless. Jillian Brown is so good in transition. Going downhill, if you do not get 2 feet in front of her, you are not going to stop her.
ESPNW's number 50 recruit in the class of 2021. Spent the first couple of years at college at Northwestern. A starter as a freshman, mostly came off the bench last season, now with the Cavaliers. DeVinny to McIver. Single-digit shot clock situation and a turnover. It's Brown escaping, and Brown scoops it home.
Oh, yeah, she's usually pretty good in those passing lanes. Going at it right again.
So this would have been a foul on Ryder, but Lynn Milligan called the timeout. And Crystal Apollines made the call. Time meeting between the Cavaliers and the Bronx. The first time these two are squaring off since 2008 in December of that year, when Lynn Milligan was in her second season as the head coach of Ryder. Virginia has really dominated this series, winning by nearly 47.5 points per game. Cavaliers have awoken here. 11 points in the first quarter, 11 points in the first 4 minutes of the second, but Ryder's made things very difficult for the Cavaliers so far.
Yeah, this is a Ryder team that was picked to finish 10th, I should say, in the league's coaches this season. I mean, they returned just 5 players, and they have 8 new faces that they have to work with, and one of them right there scoring down in the paint.
Taylor Langen with the 2. The transfer from Millersville, started her career at Colgate, 4 years with the Raiders. Taylor, an open crease to the rack.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Finishing at the basket, but it's based off of that expansion in her game of getting the ball, facing up, putting it on the floor just one time. It doesn't take a whole bunch of dribbles to get to the basket, and she just powers her way through there.
Taylor now with 10 points. Spoke with her before the game. Said, you know, I wasn't really a big basketball player until middle school. I was that type of kid growing up, picking at my nails, and just kind of got into basketball because people told me I was really good at it, and then I started working hard at it.
Yeah, as we see Virginia, their 4th turnover. Coach Mox over there not exactly happy about the way they are just throwing the ball away here.
Oh, big swat. Clark on the rejection. Let's see if Virginia maintains control. They don't. Another tip inside and a giveaway for the Cavs.
Yeah, that's an opportunity, and maybe a pick and shoot that ball right there. A pop and stop, I should say, for Paris Clark, trying to get it over to her smaller player over the hands of the defense. Just didn't work out the way she planned.
DeVinny to Langen. 5 seconds remain on the shot clock. Lynch, I don't know if she realizes it. Yeah, she doesn't. Fireball doesn't as well.
Poor time management there for a Ryder squad, looking to close the gap here late in the second quarter, as we see Jamia Blake, I believe, coming in, checking in for someone.
Yeah, Blake had a really good start to the game. Has 3 points. Her energy noticeable. Overload on this side for UVA against the zone of Ryder. Clark left alone. Too strong. Offensive rebound, though, for Brown, soaring in. Brown down the baseline. Out to Johnson, the pivot, the hezzy, the runner. No. Rebound, put back. That doesn't go. Virginia struggling underneath, but they do earn the whistle.
Yeah, sometimes these games just happen, right? Where you're getting good looks at the basket, you're getting in the paint, and this, at least in the second quarter, right? Virginia has been taking some better looks at the basket. but they're still not seeing the turnover just yet.
Cavaliers haven't scored in the last couple of minutes. And the free throw off for Brown. Sunday, it's a women's basketball doubleheader on ACC Network. First at noon, Florida Gulf Coast takes on Duke. And then Kentucky battles number 18 Louisville. Catch all the action on the ESPN app as well. You know, Lauren, you've played in these games before. Finals coming up for UVA. That's something that, as a player, you're not looking forward to it, but just ready for it at this juncture of the season. Is that part of it?
I mean, as coaches, they do a really good job of making sure that that's not on our mind, right? When we come into practice, we have one thing in our mind, and that's basketball, that's winning games, preparing for the games ahead. And so you would think that they have 10 days, right, to focus on finals. And so using those days rather than the ones prior to games.
Brown on the misfire. Virginia 1 of 11. The only three-point make was from Sam Brunel. Both these teams have the next 10 days off. Ryder plays on the 16th against Manhattan. Wofford, the next opponent for Virginia, on the 16th. Down low, and that's a miss. Sophie Brunches brought her hands to her head in disbelief. Johnson tosses ahead. Brunel adjusts and gets the contact.
Yeah, and sometimes it's legs, right? Both of these teams having some great games in the past few days of where they're just playing really hard at this point. And to your point about finals, right? During finals, you have some of your hardest practices as well. And so I'm sure in preparation for not only this game, but for that time of being off, you want to make sure your players are in their stride or feeling confident. And Virginia is a squad who, you know, just got most of their injured players back. So they're still trying to find camaraderie and chemistry heading into that ACC play.
Why do you have your hardest practices usually around finals?
Oh, no games. You have to mimic games in practice. So coaches are running us, and not for no reason, right? We're running transition. And for this Virginia squad who puts such a huge onus on not only offensive transition, but defensive transition, they have to make sure that not only are they getting back, but they're getting back and they are alert to sit down and guard the drive.
Edessa Noyen, number 12 in white, in for the first time. The freshman from Sweden at 6'3". Ryder looking to close this one down. It's at 6 right now. Langen pirouettes. Oh, what a move.
She's able to do that, right? We think that she's just a three-point shooter. She can, you know, hit the pop and stop. But she's able to get smaller guards, smaller defenders down on the block and just do some really fancy moves.
Noyen comes in and makes an impact.
Great shot there for Noyen from Sweden. She's always using her time wisely, right? She only averages about 9 minutes per game, but shooting pretty efficient from the floor and is able to take advantage of defensive when they get down the floor pretty quick.
Some Swedish national team experience at the U20 level. Fireball rains it down. It's a long 2. Lawson triggers and answers.
Nice shot for Lawson. Love to see her come in the game and knock down a shot. A player who's been with this program for quite some time and has gone through coaching changes, has gone through roles changing for her, being a starter to now coming off of the bench and providing something. That's a huge shot for her to just get her confidence going in this game.
Had a season-high 7 in the win over LaSalle back on Sunday in Philadelphia. Langen isolated. Taylor defends. It's a long 2. Splashes down for Langen.
You definitely have to be sure to not let Langen get going, because she can do just that. She is their leading scorer for this team, their most efficient scorer, and we allow her to get into her shot. It's going to be quite dangerous as Virginia still has a 5-point lead in the second quarter. Camryn Taylor has definitely been leading the reins for this Virginia squad so far this season with the helps of her newbies, new fresh faces. But we've been able to see her kind of grow throughout this season. Against LaSalle, she was able to do something special as we see Alexia Smith taking it to the rim there.
Yeah, she's done a great job so far, has 10 points. That being Taylor, but right now she is not on the floor and went down the tunnel.
Yeah, we're just going to point out the fact that against LaSalle, she wasn't able to score, but she was able to score from the free throw line with 10 of 10 from the free throw line.
Jamia Blake finding some rhythm here. Ryder's got to be pretty proud of its first half. Let's find out if Virginia can expand the 5-point lead here. Smith cuts and overshoots her target. Lawson out of bounds. Another turnover for UVA. The Cavaliers' 5th, matching the Bronx.
Consistency is key for this Virginia squad, and we haven't been able to see that quite yet. Offensively, they've been able to get a lot of great shots in transition, but in the half court are just struggling a bit.
Redmond loses it. Johnson heaves off the heel. End of 20 minutes from JPJ. Kayla Fireball, the team's sharpshooter. Now it's Jessica Schiffer, tied for the team lead with 6 points. Redmond is open. Air ball, and Langen saves it over her head. Oh, and how about the play from Johnson? Very crafty. 3-on-2, the bounce to Clark. And missed the layup off the bracket.
Man, that's kind of been the theme tonight, right? Getting all the way to the basket and not being able to finish. However, in transition, they have seen those buckets go through.
Fireball on the ball. Has really added elements to her game throughout her career, now a senior. Langen along 2, and Ryder trails by just 3.
That's a shot that she can knock down. Sam Brunell didn't have a high hand on that defensive play, allowing her to just see the basket and see the ball go through.
Alexia Smith on the runner, too strong. They box out nicely on Taylor, but she does cause a deflection, and it goes back to the Cavaliers. A quick substitution from Coach Mox as Clark goes to the bench and Jillian Brown is back in, just 1:16 after halftime.
That's such a dynamic and, I should say, dominant rebounder that Taylor is. I wonder if that double box out was purposeful.
Brunell fakes, takes, misses. Offensive rebound, Brown and 1.
Brown going hard after the rebound yet again. We've seen her do it early on in this season, and now she is just enforcing herself. Nobody really boxed her out. Everyone's reaching around her, and she's able to gather herself and put it high on the backboard for the and 1.
Brown now with 7 points and 7 rebounds as well in just 10 minutes of action.
Brown is a player that started this season with players on the bench and injured. She was able to start and really get her bearings with this new program. Coach talked about it kind of being a challenge for her, but she was willing to accept it, and now she's coming off the bench and still being impactful.
Brown had a double-double in her Cavaliers debut against Maryland Eastern Shore. Langen through the contact.
Sam Brunell a step too slow, and Langen is a player, a fiery player, who is moving quickly, and she's moving assertively, right? She's not wasting her steps specifically off of these non-ball screens. She is moving. Sam Brunell's a step too slow after she switches with Camryn Taylor on that back screen.
Yeah, effective back screen from Deviney. Give her a lot of credit, the freshman. Won't see that on the box score.
Yeah, one thing that Coach Milligan talked about is, you know, they have new freshmen, right? They have 3 freshmen to this program now, and she's used to playing freshmen, she said, but she's not always used to starting freshmen. But she says Kaylin Deviney earned her spot through preseason, during in-season practices. She's challenging herself every day to get better, and she's not settling for this starting position.
And she was a player who wasn't actually signed until May. Milligan saw her play last season on a team with a couple of talented guards in high school, but she watched that game and she said, this Kaylin Deviney, who's that tall player, that 5 who can shoot from the outside? She's been transitioning from mostly a perimeter player in high school to back to basket. She's on the block now. Her ceiling, according to Coach Milligan, is incredibly high, and they're trying to really make her a consistent player. Some peaks, some valleys, but she can be spectacular at the collegiate level. Zone again for Ryder. We've seen that a lot in the first half. Brown on the kick. Smith's three, rips the cords.
Able to see one go through the net from deep. This Virginia squad hasn't been able to see that, but that was a great ball movement for Virginia around the rim, around the three-point line to see it, a skip on the other end.
A very rare three in this one. The teams have combined to shoot 5 of 26 from three. Here's another tray. That misses from Fireball. Rebound loose, and it's taken in by Odessa Nguyen. Johnson, the highly touted freshman, doubles back to Taylor.
Smart there to pull it out and not force it too much on that transition with not a lot of numbers.
Taylor from the baseline.
It's a different opportunity for Taylor when she's able to step out of that paint and knock down those corner shots, those free throw shots, 15-footers so effortlessly.
Taylor leads everybody with 12 points so far. This stays with Ryder, and Kamora Johnson with her mouth agape does not believe that. Bruce Morris, Crystal Apollonez, and Keith Batson are officiating crew this evening. A steal. Nguyen, one-on-one, defers to her right. Johnson, pass deflected. They couldn't get it inside for Brown.
Yeah, I think we're seeing Kamora Johnson be more passive than we have, specifically in transition. Usually she is the one who's going to go for that shot.
Nguyen takes the shot and cans it. The three will count. There's a foul underneath. It's on the Cavaliers, but Virginia expands the lead.
And sometimes you pass up a good shot for a great shot, right? We talked about that earlier in the second half, and that is Nguyen's second three-pointer of this season. She is 2 of 2 for her career, and this is just a wide open shot. You better shoot that, I'm sure Coach Mox is saying, and she sunk it.
Overall, you like that decision-making from Johnson?
Overall, it's a great decision. You know, she's able to see her numbers weren't there. She was able to pull it out, but she almost turned the ball over there, but there where Nguyen was.
And Ryder now gives it away for the 8th time. Brown, too strong. Oh, the putback is in. Johnson showing off the strength, all in one motion.
That's what you like to see from your freshman. She's used to seeing the ball go through the net more than she has tonight. This is just her first bucket of the game, and for it to be an and one is certainly a confidence boost there, in the right position at the right time, and just taps it back in for the and one and flex.
Yeah. Charlottesville native, 2-time Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year out of St. Anne's Belfield. Number 24 recruit in this year's class, according to ESPNW. Coach Mox signed the 13th best recruiting class in the nation. Here's a layup inside. Fireball with the point and the crediting.
Those back screens are getting Virginia defenders caught up, whether it's the communication that's not happening or just taking too long to step to the ball when the ball leaves their person's hand.
Smith gashes the D, and the Cavaliers are now 6 of their last 7. Jamia Blake is back in. To be an instant source of offense for this Bronx team. Virginia outscoring Ryder 16-6 here in the third. Blake around the screen. Zips towards the basket, throws up a wild shot, and Brown secures.
Great defense from Nguyen, able to put her body between the ball and the basket.
And now Alexia Smith finishes off the pass from Johnson, who's really starting to cook. Johnson with 4 assists and a timeout.
Great back-to-back plays there for Virginia. Nice stop on defense and able to get down and pass the ball, use her ball fake, and finish at the basket to extend the lead for UVA.
Second half, outscoring Ryder 18-6 so far in the third.
Yeah, Alexia Smith gets in the pot. She has 7 just in the second half. We see other players coming alive here late in the game. And we've always talked about it. The third quarter is, for some reason, the time that they just get pumped up. Johnson's getting in there for the and one late in the quarter.
Cavaliers have gotten off to some rough starts in games, but they've really improved as games have continued. Down by 15 a couple of times, made some comebacks against Tulane and Mizzou last Thursday in the ACC SEC Challenge. What feels different about the way they came out of halftime tonight?
It's their energy on defense. It's not as lax, although they're getting caught up on some back screens. On ball defense, they're not allowing straight line drives, and that always leads to how they are intense on offense, right? You have one-off players like Camryn Taylor who can get it going herself. But as a team, you need that defensive camaraderie to get you going for offense.
Taylor now nearing a double-double, 12 points, 9 rebounds, misses that layup. A strip inside, Taylor whacks it out of bounds, and it goes back to Ryder. Virginia up by 17 over the Ryder Broncs in non-con play. Fireball is a senior for the Ryder Broncs, but she comes from Winchester, Virginia, about 2 hours away from Charlottesville, from James Wood High School, northern tip of the Shenandoah Valley. Hit 1,000 career points as a junior in high school, and this is such a big opportunity for her to play in front of some family and friends today.
First time of her playing career in college where she has been able to play in her home state of Virginia. She's got her family, her dad, friends. Even, I think you said the principal's there as well. That's awesome. That means you've had a great relationship with your principal for him to come out and support you in the way that they have tonight.
I don't think the principal brought the report card. I think it was electronic. Out of this timeout, Camryn Taylor off the steal. Alexia Smith, who has 7 here in the third. Nguyen open, flips it up off the window.
Beautiful efforts from Nguyen tonight. That's her 7th point of the night, and she's just able to find these little avenues for her to just squeeze between and get to the basket.
Nguyen came in with just 10 points on the season, has 7 this evening. Ryder needs offense quickly. And a foul on the perimeter. Nguyen is annoyed.
Yeah, and players like Nguyen coming off the bench is going to be so necessary. When you look at Virginia under Coach Mox, it's really been the depth that she didn't have prior to this season. And so now that they have that, getting good minutes out of players like Nguyen and Lawson and even when she comes back, you know, it's going to be great for her to come into this game. London Clarkson, I don't know why his name escaped me. London Clarkson coming off the bench even. It's going to be great for them to have these minutes as they get into ACC play, because everyone's going to know what Camryn Taylor does. Everyone's going to know what Kimora Johnson does. But having an assassin, a quiet assassin like Nguyen is going to be important.
Yeah, Clarkson out today, if you're just joining us. Concussion protocol for London. And then Mir McLean still hasn't played. The senior from Baltimore recovering from a knee injury. Another change here for Coach Mox. 41 in white is the backup center Taylor Lauterbach, a grad student at 6'7". She looks 6'7" there.
Oh yeah, she is long and she is strong for this Virginia squad, able to come in and average about 7 minutes per game.
Brown misses the layup. And she makes it incredibly difficult, Lauterbach, to get it in on inbounds. She was the tallest player in Kansas State history, spent 3 seasons there. Graduated in 3 years, moved on to the Hoos. Langen, their top scorer for Ryder on the season, 14 a game. The lefty fakes, dips inside. Oh, nice play.
Great way to get to the basket and see the ball go through the net. Ryder has kind of slowed down their offensive play, or schemes, I should say. They're not running plays all the way through, but they're trying to use as little time to get a quick bucket.
Langen picks this one up near the baseline. Her outlet pass is deflected out of bounds by Yatabar.
Good pressure for Virginia to stay up on the ball as it was on the floor. I talked about it earlier. 50-50 balls is something that Coach Mox counts, not only in games, but also in practices. So they keep a track of how many times they are getting on the floor.
Is that effective for players, right, in practice, to know that that count is coming?
Oh, yes, it is. It's so important. Everything is a competition in practice. And so to know that you're being counted and you want to get a higher number than the day before even is always in the back of your mind, whether that be for free throws, 50-50 ball, rebounds. Turnovers was another big one that you want to keep it under a certain amount as well.
You played with Jocelyn Willoughby, who's in the WNBA. Did you win many competitions against her?
You know, one-on-one, we didn't have to go to head-to-head too many times, right? But me and Jocelyn, we did get into some, good, friendly competition with one another in practice and just, building each other up. It was always friendly. Like I said, we really knew each other's strengths and we wanted to pour into those. And so, a lot of times we were on the same team in those competitions.
Nguyen off the offensive rebound. Can't get it to go. Loose ball foul. It stays right here, and UVA continues the possession. Virginia outscoring Rider 20-8 here in the third. Cavaliers haven't scored in the last 2+ minutes, but they continue to play some really good defense here in the third.
Yeah, they're holding off this Rider offense as they're trying to get different shots going here offensively.
Aaliyah McIver back in, running point for Rider. Langen scans. Fireball receives. Ball screen to Vinny. Fireball and a foul underneath. And it's on UVA. It's on Lauterbach.
Yeah, Davini has been kind of setting that up all night. She has had to go against some pretty tough post players in the paint, and whether they're facing her defensively or three-quartering her on the block, she has really had to fight for her position. And so now that Lauterbach is in there, she can kind of get away with making sure that the refs see all the work that she is putting in down there to get position.
I really enjoyed what Coach Milligan said to us about Kaylin Davini. She said, K is the only one who can guard K. It's really hard to guard her. Sometimes she just guards herself. But when she doesn't really believe anybody at the MAC level can stop her.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about positioning and footwork. When you're a post player, it's all about positioning, right? You don't have the ball in your hand to make the decision, but you can set yourself up so that when you get the ball, you're in position to do something with it.
Shot clock is down to 5. Vaughn using the screen from Lauterbach. Shot clock at 3 to the outside. Here's the 3 from Nguyen, misses. Offensive rebound, Kaden Lawson. Nguyen fakes, goes up, can't get the roll. There's the 6'7" giant, Lauterbach.
Powerful, able to square her shoulders to the basket and see the ball go in the net. That was a big move for her.
Lauterbach only had 5 points in the first 8 games for the Cavaliers. 3 is on the way. It's money from McIver.
McIver, first shot of the night, first bucket, I should say, of the night. She is a 1 of 3 now from long range.
Coach Milligan said she wanted one-and-done possessions for the Cavaliers. Here's another one that's not one and done. Loose ball on the ground, tie up. And the possession arrow stays with UVA. You saw the note, second chance points on the bottom. They're getting putbacks and extra opportunities.
Yeah, squaring herself off and making sure she's going into the chest of Davini is such a strong move. As you can see, her teammates and coaches are hyped for her.
Vaughn unloads, bottom.
Okay, Yonta Vaughn trying to come out and show a little something different from deep. Her first 3 of the night and first bucket. I love when she comes into the game. She's such a facilitator at that point guard position. But when she's able to knock some shots down and get some confidence going behind her, she can really be really good for them. 2
seconds in the quarter, and with under 1, a late bailout foul that gives Rider potentially 2 freebies.
They're not going away from what they know, which is that paint. Those paint points, we talked about them coming into this third quarter. And she's been able to continue it, but not as much. And Lauterbach ended up with the foul there.
ACC PM with Mark Packer and Taylor Tannenbaum, weekdays from Mark's Charlotte studio in his basement at 4 Eastern. They'll continue talking college football and have the latest from around the conference right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Vaughn, a baseball throw. to right field, but not in the basket. 57-1.
I think she's going to be even better. She was named the ACC Freshman Player of the Week. And then on the other hand, Hannah Hidalgo, I don't know if you have heard of her or not. It might be under a rock because she was the Freshman of the Week for 3 weeks in a row.
And she's been doing it despite some key absences for Notre Dame in its lineup. Olivia Miles hasn't played.
Oh, yeah.
Sonia Citron hasn't played. Hassan Prosper, they're all out with injuries in their game tonight against Lafayette.
Yeah, it's been great timing for her. Also, they lost Dara Mabry as well to graduation, and so for her to step in the way that she has as a freshman has been huge for that program, specifically under a new head coach, right, and Neil Ivey, who wants to, write her own history of sorts. And so she's just been doing it all for them offensively and leading them, and not only on the court in just this season, but she's already made a name for herself in the program, the 5th Notre Dame player to ever score 20-plus points in 5 straight games, and those were her first 5 games of her career.
That's pretty remarkable. And our star freshman here in Kamora Johnson hasn't necessarily filled it up in the points category, but has 5 rebounds and 4 assists so far in 20 minutes.
Yeah, she's always able to kind of find her groove, get her other teammates involved, and get her buckets when she needs to.
Nice back cut here in the finish from Fireball.
The back cuts have really been working for this Rider team. We talked to Coach about what it looks like when her offense is on, and she talked about moving the ball in ball screens, but this back screen has really caught up Virginia defensively.
Lauren, I poked my head into UVA's practice yesterday right before the men's game started, and Coach Mox was saying that in practice yesterday. They love the back cuts.
Yeah, they do. They like to keep their defense. They like to trick their defense, I should say. They think they're going to stay there and maybe get an opportunity for a shot, but it's really the opportunity to catch their defense slipping at see a three-pointer go down for Rider.
That's Deviney. That's the player who normally operated from the perimeter in high school, and Coach Lynn Milligan promised that she could shoot from the outside. Shows it there. Rider hanging around.
Our oldest son, Stephen, had been stationed in the Marine Corps. He came home on a visit.
That is getting high for this back screen that Rider continues to run on offense, opening up their guards down on the block for a wide open layup. It's been so successful, but it's the timing and the proximity to where she is making that screen to the three-point line that has been so effortless and seamless for this offense.
And how can UVA counteract that?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about jumping to the ball, right? And if you're thinking about coaches, they're like, when the ball leaves your player's hand, jump to the ball. If Paris Clark jumps to the ball, gets over that back screen, she is able to three-quarter deny her player all the way down to the block to avoid that pass in.
Camryn Taylor muscles her way inside, misses, grabs her own miss. The stick-to-itiveness from Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor took a bit of a break there in the third quarter, but is able to come in this fourth quarter and see some success down on the block as she always has been this game.
9th career double for Taylor with 14 and 12 so far. Deviney with the distribution to the outside. Koss, three-pointer, fireball, misses. That would have been a big one, cut it to 10. Jillian Brown looking like Curly Neal and then fumbles it. Now it's fireball. Rider, if they hurry, 3-on-2. Down low, a turnover. Camryn Taylor is just too tall for that.
Yeah, this is the point of the game where Virginia wants to be smart with every single possession, offense and defense. The other play down where Camryn Taylor let her player just drive by her, that's not the best way to make sure that we're prioritizing possessions here if you are Virginia.
They get an extra shot added here. Vaughn on a rainbow. Bounces down. Brunel gets a poke. Instead, Koss cleans it up. Coach Moxie may have just seen that at the top of your screen. Just threw her hands into her lap. Doesn't like it right now. Schiffer off the bounce. Vaughn collects. Johnson. Two Virginia players collide. It allows Fireball to go in transition. Vaughn at least disrupted it. Back we go the other way. Johnson, Brunel tees it up. No, Taylor's there. Who else? Taylor back up. Hit on the shoulder.
Yeah, we said it earlier. If Virginia's going to get going offensively, it usually starts with Camryn Taylor being big on the block, getting to the free throw line, or finishing at the basket. There, she wasn't able to do so, but I think the biggest difference between Virginia in the third quarter and Virginia in the fourth quarter is that they aren't taking the best looking shots. They are taking shots that are available, but they aren't really ready for the shot.
Well, thankfully for the Cavs, Taylor is there. She has now tied her career high with 13 rebounds. Third time she's done that in her career. She makes the first. Saturday, December 16th, a college basketball quadruple header starts at noon Eastern. Two featured matchups for us. Virginia Tech hosts Vermont, the Catamounts in Blacksburg at 4 Eastern. Then the Cavaliers square off against the Northeastern Huskies right here on ACC Network and the app. Did you catch the performance from Isaac McNeely last night?
No, I didn't. I missed it. And they played my mom's alma mater.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in Central.
Yeah, McNeely had 22 points, 6 of 8 from 3 for the second consecutive game. Cavaliers 23rd in the net so far. They've been really strong to start the season, 8-1 under Tony Bennett.
Yeah, talk about sustaining an identity. It's a huge task, but they've been able to do so early on here.
Johnson off the dribble. Camryn Johnson now with 5 points, 2 of 8 from the floor, but has filled it up in other categories tonight. 7 rebounds and 4 assists.
And sometimes that's going to be necessary. We talk about what people are looking at when they go looking at Camryn Johnson's tape, and it is this. It's leaking out for transition buckets. It's making herself available for that pull-up shot when defenses are closing out on her strong. She's able to mix it up, and so when she's able to have games where she's just dishing it off or making buckets when she has to, rather than forcing things, is so much better for this Virginia team. Yontavon getting in the passing lane, kicking it ahead, just an easy bucket.
Well, Camryn Johnson, we told you earlier, she's the 2-time Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year out of St. Anne's Belfield. All she had to do to get to John Paul Jones from high school, she had to turn right on Ivy Road, left on Copley, and right on Massey, and here she is.
Oh, yeah. Super easy route to get to JPJ, and man, I can only imagine growing up, going to these games, being the ball girl for these games, and now having to call, you know, JPJ your home. It's an amazing place to be, that's for sure.
We learned something very interesting about Camryn prior to the game. I was speaking with Camryn Taylor, and the team, as you know, went to LaSalle on Sunday, Philadelphia. So they won. How did they celebrate? They got cheesesteaks, right?
Cheesesteaks.
Of course. Not Camryn Johnson. Chicken is the only meat that she eats. And there's no chicken cheesesteaks in Philly. Come on. You don't do that.
I mean, if you go across the bridge to Jersey, you could have found one, but it's okay.
No special trips for Camryn. Has to stay with the team. Come on, you know that, Lauren.
Yeah.
Johnson on the kick. Brunel the pump. Takes the short corner, Jay. It rolls off. Rebound. Alexia Smith has marked her impact on this game here in the second half.
Been huge points for her. And just her efforts, being able to take different players off that point guard position, put them on the wing, on the 3, and let them cook.
How about that disparity on the offensive glass? Sheesh. 26-0 in second chance, man.
I tell you, and that was a huge point of emphasis for Ryder. And, you know, some teams you can kind of avoid or make an impact or some difference, but this Virginia team, they just go after these boards. They know exactly where the ball is coming off, and you have to imagine that that is something that they practice, reading where the ball is coming off, because it's not just their forwards getting in on this action. We're talking about guards playing the position where they have Camryn Johnson has 7 rebounds.
Did you study in college how your teammates missed?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, especially as a post player, right? Like, you have to set yourself up for success to, if you're not going to get the ball or get past the ball inside, that you can get the ball coming off the rim. And so there are different parts of the three-point line where the ball's more likely to come off on a certain angle.
Well, what's mind-boggling about this game, Virginia leads by 19 points. The Cavaliers have shot 35%, while Ryder is at 43 as Brunel finally cashes one in. It just shows you what you can do, even if you're struggling offensively, if you just attack the rim.
Oh yeah, more looks at that basket, and Virginia's getting more looks, more stops in transition even for a Ryder offense who can push the ball. They just haven't been able to.
Up ahead, Taylor wide open.
We love these passes in between players and defenses. They're running back in transition, but Yonta Vaughn saw a lane directly to Camryn Taylor down on the block to lay it up.
Vaughn now with 3 assists. Under 3 to go here in the 4th as the Cavaliers look to improve their record to 7-2 right before finals begin this Monday. Blake off the flare, it's McIver, and a hold on Vaughn.
Such good sight. So effortlessly right down the court to her hand, her guide hand, and was able to turn around and lay it up right before a defender could come and impact that shot.
Taylor and Brunel, Johnson and Smith all going to the bench. 4 changes here for Coach Mox. I know as a former post player yourself, you really appreciate how Taylor plays the game.
Oh yes, it's all about the progress that I've seen in her since day one, right? She came to UVA, to JPJ, just with a different mindset, different perspective, right, of her game, and she was able to shoot that 15-footer, but she wasn't shooting it consistently, and there just was no confidence there. And so now seeing her be able to do so many different things with the ball in her hand, that's what being a dynamic post player is about. That's what sets you apart from the other post players, specifically in the ACC. Everyone can shoot the 15-footer. They can drive to the basket, have a pump fake at the end of their drive. Everyone can, have a face-up move on the block. So you have to set yourself apart, and that's exactly what I've seen her do from last year to this year.
One of the other things that's very important to Cam, her pregame regimen, which is getting tea. Wants to go to Starbucks, and there's a secret menu item. I guess I'm not allowed to say it on the air, right? Because it's a secret menu item.
Potentially, is it just the medicine ball? Because I know that's not on the menu, but everyone gets medicine ball.
Oh, well, you just spoiled the secret.
Oh, oops. Sorry, Cam.
Say sorry to Starbucks, not Cam.
Well, also, those are pretty expensive teas, right? Like we could just get a tea bag, save our coin a little bit. But hey, NIL money is different, so I know times are different these days.
She said the Cam special is adding extra honey in the tea.
Ooh, I love honey.
So I said, hey, I appreciate that as someone who speaks for a living. Got to have your voice fresh. Turnover, Koss leaking out and laying it in.
Mariona not letting up late here in the game despite the deficit.
Kayla Firebaugh commits the foul, and so Ryder makes a few changes here before they head back to Lawrenceville.
Yeah, we see Coach Milligan pull Devaney to the side. She had such a great game for this team. Only 9 points, but 3 from 5 from the floor. Was able to knock down a free throw and back to that offense that really was so successful to them. That backdoor screen that she was such a vital piece of.
Olivia McGee comes in and nails the 3. Extends the Virginia lead to 27 here with 40 ticks to go. Taylor Blunt is in the game for Ryder. Sam Richardson as well. Molly Lynch back in. Likely the final possession here for the Bronx. To the corner. Here's the 3. And it's missed by Blunt. Called off the bench. Shot clock goes dark. And that pretty much wraps it up here from John Paul Jones Arena tonight. Virginia only had a lead of 32-27 at halftime, but it is a Cavaliers explosion here in half number 2. Didn't shoot the ball well, but dominated the glass tonight. And Virginia rolls over Ryder 78-51.
26 second chance points for this Virginia squad. As you noted, Corey, not the best overall shooting night, but the fact